In Module 4, which is all about digital tools, one of the things that you read about in the chapter would have been digital storytelling. In Module 4, I provided you with a couple of resources that relate to digital storytelling. The first one, the sample digital storytelling, is a um, story that has been done by an adult to talk about the impact of science and technology on society, but he tells it in a creative manner by talking about his interest in science fiction. So I certainly want you to take a few moments to watch that sample to get an idea of how you can combine both still photographs, video clips, voice, and music to create a very interesting, creative digital story. The second thing I want you to do is to make sure that you look at the resources that have been provided on digital storytelling. It'll bring you to a wiki page um, called Digital Storytelling, the basic introduction to, which gives you, of course, the definition of digital storytelling. It gives you a handout that talks about um, what digital storytelling is, who's using it in education, how does it work, um, where's it going, what's the implications for teaching and learning. So that's some information about digital storytelling in general that may be interesting for you to just read over to know how it can be helpful in education. The next couple of resources, 50 Web 2.0 Ways to Tell a Story, the Center for Digital Storytelling, and Educational Uses of Digital Storytelling are all, again, additional resources that have ideas, examples, and resources with things that'll help you to create your own digital story in your classroom. So again, there's certainly ones that I would advise taking a look at when you have an opportunity. The next thing on this digital storytelling resource is listing the steps in a digital story. The first step being to write the story. You or your students, whoever is doing the digital storytelling, should either write the script. It can be retelling of an existing story, like telling Cinderella in modern day times. Um, or telling the original Cinderella story, changing that existing story to a modern day time, or writing your own original story, for example. The next thing you do is kind of plan out your media on what we call a storyboard. It's just little frames that kind of let you think through visually what you want to put into your story. The next step is to collect those graphics, whether that be photographs, drawings that you scan in, illustrations from the internet. There's several different uh, ways that you can gather the graphics that you're going to use in your digital story. Um, the next thing you need to do is find any other media that you're going to use, like music or sound effects or video clips that you might need to gather. And again, those can come from a variety of different sources. Um, Next, you actually import all of those little bits and pieces together into whatever program you're using to create your digital story. Some popular tools are things like Photo Story 3, iMovie, and Windows Movie Maker, which are all computer-based and all free. iMovie is the only one that works on the Apple. Photo Story and Windows Movie Maker are free and they work on Windows. You can download them from the internet if you don't have them. And then, of course, the last step in digital storytelling is, of course, to share it. So if you're in a classroom setting, you can watch them on the projector or you can upload them to the internet so people can look at them freely in their own time. So those are just the basic steps to digital storytelling. Um, the next couple of things kind of talk about elements of the story. You want to think about who your audience is, what voice are you going to use, how is the sound going to enhance it, using correct grammar and language, those kinds of things. So all of those you want to keep in mind as you are creating your story. All right, a couple of handouts are provided here and in Blackboard on how to use a couple of other um, computer-based tools to create your story like Photo Story 3 and Windows Movie Maker, which if you're comfortable with using those and you can follow the handouts and you want to do that, you're welcome to use those. In this explanation, I am going to explain how to use Voicethread, which is a web-based tool. So if you like to use Photo Story, Movie Maker, or even iMovie and you're comfortable with it, you're welcome to do that. The next set of resources give you sites where you can go and find copyright free or copyright friendly photographs that you can download from the internet to use in your digital story rather than having to take your own pictures with a digital camera or scan them in from a book or a drawing. You can actually just download photographs and use those in your digital story. So those are a couple of sites that you can use, like Pics for Learning or Big Photo, Free Photo, Photo Stock. Those are some really good sites to try out. Now, if you've never downloaded an image from the internet to use in another program, I provided you with some instructions on how to download an image. You want to do things like find the full size image. I'll show you how to do that in a little while. You'll right click that image and a menu will pop up, and on that menu you'll be able to click save picture as. Then you'll choose where you want to save that picture and give it a name, and then simply click save. So I'll go through those steps with you, but those are the instructions for how to download an image from the internet in case you've never done that on your own before. Okay, the next couple of resources are like the previous ones that had photos on them. These have sounds and videos, so if you want to download some music that you can use that is copyright friendly and copyright free, um, which I know you all are going to know because you reviewed the resources in discussion question number 4 about copyright and fair use guidelines, so you understand what I'm talking about when I say copyright friendly and copyright free. But you can find sounds, music, and video clips that you can use in your own digital story. All right, the next thing is just a couple of little tips. For example, you want to always write your story first, whether you're telling an existing story, changing up that story, or writing your own original story. You want to have a script, and this just gives you an example of a script. So you can give this to students as they start out. Um, the first time that they create their own digital story, you can give them this type of framed script where they plug in what they want to plug in the blanks, and then they're able to use illustrations to bring that story to life. So that's something you can do. If you don't want to give them the initial framework, they can write the whole thing from scratch, but make sure they are either at an age and skill level where that's appropriate, that they can write their own story from scratch. Um, and or make sure that they've done it enough times that they're comfortable with that process. So that just gives you a sample script. It also gives you a sample storyboard because you want to use a storyboard to kind of plan out what's going to go on the digital story. So basically, it just gives you a couple of frames where you can put like what the picture is going to look like and what audio, like what's being said or the music that's being played um, there. So you kind of know what you need to gather as far as photographs, video clips, music, and so on. All right, a couple of other tips as you're making your digital story. You're going to make sure that you use images that are at least 800 by 600. The better quality the picture is to start with, the better quality your digital story will be when it's finished. Um, you also want to make sure that you create a folder to put all of your media in, all of your photographs, all of your video clips, all of your music and your sound that you're going to use for your digital story. It's best to go ahead and create a folder to put all of those in. Okay. A couple other tips about selecting files when you're working with them and using effects and motion and transitions and stuff like that. Use them sparingly and purposefully. Don't just do them just to be doing them, but make sure that they have a purpose when they're doing it. So that's all of I'm going to kind of point out in this digital storytelling resources. The next thing that I am going to cover with you is what is VoiceThread. VoiceThread is the tool that we are going to utilize to create your digital story. So I certainly want you to watch this brief introduction to what is VoiceThread. I won't play it now, but I do want you to watch it very quickly. Understanding that VoiceThread is a free web-based tool that you're going to have to sign up for or register for in order to be able to use it. Now, what I do want to point out is down below, there's also a link to a how to use VoiceThread website. So if there's anything that you have a question about that perhaps I don't answer in this video, you can actually just click on that. Like, do I need a microphone to make comments in VoiceThread? And this kind of explains that, um, how you can use the phone to comment in your story and so on. So that's just an additional resource for you um, about VoiceThread. Okay, so I am going to go back to the VoiceThread homepage here and move on to talk about the um, assignment in particular. Okay, so let's talk about assignment number 2 in Module 4. Assignment number 2 is for you to create a digital story, and you have two options. Option number 1 is that you can create a story about yourself and your classroom that you might use to introduce yourself and your classroom rules and expectations to your future students and parents. So kind of think about open house at the beginning of the school year when parents and students come to meet you for the first time. Some of that information that you might share with them about the projects that you'll do in class, your classroom rules, consequences, your grading policies, those kinds of things that you would share with them. You could create a digital story about that. Or option number 2 is to pick a topic in your content area that you might teach a lesson about. It might be a really great idea to think about what you're going to be including in your group unit plan. So think about your topic in your group unit plan and what could you teach a lesson using digital storytelling. Okay, let me give you an example of what I mean by a digital story. If I were a elementary school teacher teaching science, we might be learning about the water cycle. So I could have my students write a story, original story about the water cycle, like Drip the Little Water Drop, who hung out with his brothers and sisters in the sky and got fat on water vapor and eventually fell to the ground as precipitation. Once Drip and his brothers and sisters hung out in the puddle on the ground for a while, Big Bad Mr. Sun came out and dried them all up. And they got smaller and smaller and smaller, and they evaporated and floated back into the sky. But once they were in the sky, they got together again, sucking up all the water vapor and condensing, and started the process all over again. So that's an example of a story in science that your students might write, that you could have them illustrate. Um, you could find pictures that were relevant to the story online, and put it together in a neat, interesting way. So those are your two options. Either a story about yourself in your classroom for your students, or a topic in your content area that you might teach. And I would suggest thinking about what would be in your unit plan. All right, so now we are going to use VoiceThread, which you've already watched the short little VoiceThread introduction on your own. That tells you it is a web-based tool used to create digital stories. And what I want you to notice is that on VoiceThread there was a sign in or register link. You are going to need to click the register button. When you click the register button, you'll type in your first name, you'll type in your last name, you'll type in your email address, you'll re-enter your email address, you'll enter what you want as a password, and you'll re-enter that again. Um, Make sure that you remember what password it is that you are creating. Then you are going to type in the words that you see in this box and click the register button. So I'm not going to go through that process simply because I already have an account and there's no need for me to do that. But you'll need to create your own account by following this process. As soon as you do that, it should automatically sign you in to VoiceThread so that you can begin working. Again, I'm going to emphasize that if you are comfortable with some other um, um, video creation program like Movie Maker, Photo Story, iMovie, you're welcome to use those. However, I'm not going to do a demonstration with any of those. I'm only going to do this demonstration with VoiceThread. The only requirements that I have besides what the content of your story should be is that you have to include high quality images, remember at least 800 by 600. You have to have some titles or written text on the screen. You also have to have some voice comments or voice narration included in your story. Um, if you only use photographs, then you have to have no less than 10 photographs. Or if you use video clips, then your finished story should be no less than 2 minutes long. So if you're only using photographs, at least 10 photographs. But if you include video, it has to be at least 2 minutes long. When you complete the digital story, then I want you to make it available online. If you use VoiceThread, you'll automatically be given a website address for VoiceThread for your completed digital story. But if you use some other program, you're going to need to upload it to YouTube and make it available to anybody with the link. Then you're going to take that link and you're going to submit that to live text grading. So I will get to all of that momentarily. So I'm going to continue on with the demonstration of how to use VoiceThread. Okay, now that I have actually signed in to VoiceThread, you can see where I have logged in the top right hand corner because it shows the email address that I used to sign in. There are a couple of different buttons that run along the top of VoiceThread. The one that I'm going to want you to go to in order to do your digital storytelling project is the Create button. Right. So once you get to the create screen, there's really not anything going on right here. You'll notice that the only thing that you can do on the screen right now is to click the upload button. Okay. Upload gives you a couple of different options. Notice that it tells you you can upload images, documents, and videos by using the buttons that are here. So you can either upload pictures from your computer, from other media sources, from a website address, or from a webcam. Okay, so let's explore those options really quickly. Remember, you have already thought about what your story is all about. You'll already have kind of jotted down your script and thought about what pictures you needed, and you'll have gone to find them, hopefully. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is show you uploading from your computer. So if I were to click on my computer, I would go to my documents and go to whatever folder I have created to put all of my um, uh, graphics and video clips and sounds for this particular digital story. I would go there. So for now, I'm going to simply select a couple of pictures to use here. So I'm going to click this ASU logo. I'm going to hold down my control key and I'm going to click the conceptual framework. I'm also going to click a couple of pictures of computers and the Ralph Abernathy Hall, a smart board. Okay, and I'm going to click open. So all of these pictures are loading from my computer. So, okay, so these are the pictures I've uploaded from my computer. I can also pull pictures from media sources. For example, if I have other voice threads, which at this point you probably don't, if you have a Flickr account, you can pull pictures over from there. If you have a Facebook account, you can actually click that and import your photographs over from Facebook, or you can even search the New York Public Library's free and open um, copyright free images as well. So again, you simply click and you can search for whatever you're looking for. So I may be looking for computers, which they don't have any. Okay. So again, you could just kind of browse the categories that they do have and select images that you like to use from that. Okay, so that's another option is from media sources. Um, from a URL, I want to show you that option. It wants you to enter the website address of the picture that you like to include in your digital story. So let me show you how this works. Go to your favorite search engine like Google or Yahoo, and most search engines now have an image search. So you'll want to search for images, and I'm going to search for um, a classroom. So you notice it shows me lots and lots of pictures of classrooms, and I can decide which one I would like to utilize. So I think I like this image here of this classroom. I simply click on that image. It gives me a better view of that. And it's very important that I look at the size of the image. In this case, it's 550 by 413, which is not a great size photograph. So I think I might not use that one. So I'm going to click my back button and find another one. Say, let's try this one. Oh, that one's only 400. Okay, let's try this one. So again, I look at the size. This one is 1280 by 734, so that's a really good quality picture and it'll look good in my digital story. So what I want to do is click on the full size image. So the only thing on the screen now is the actual picture itself. It's not the site where the picture is located. It's not the search engine. It's just the picture. The other way that I know it's just the picture is when I look at the website address, it ends in .jpg, and a JPG is a picture file. Sometimes that's a JPEG. Sometimes it's a GIF, a TIF, a BMP, or a PNG. All of those are different picture files, but the most common by far is JPG or JPEG. Okay, so I know that is the website address for the picture. So I'm simply going to copy that picture, go back to Voicethread, where I'm going to paste that URL. It gives me a green check mark because it does realize that that is a picture. And then I'm going to click import. And so that picture is now added to um, my pictures that I'm using for my digital story. So again, simply go to your favorite search engine, look for images, type in what you're interested in finding, make sure that it's a good quality picture, which this one is not. So this one's $14.99 by $11.19. Click full size picture, so you only have the picture. Copy the website address and then go back to Voicethread where you'll click URL and paste and import. And there you go. Alright, so now I have a couple of pictures that I've pulled from various sources. You can also use your webcam to take pictures or to um, record video, which will also count as your voice narration if you decide to use a webcam. I don't have one hooked up today, so I'm not going to demonstrate that portion of it. But now that I have a couple of pictures, then I am able to put them in the order that I want to share. So I may drag and drop pictures in the order that I want to show them. So now they're in the order that I want them to appear in my digital story. The next thing that I can do is to click and add titles that will appear in my digital story. Welcome to ASU. And I could actually put in a website address if I choose to do so. Okay, I can do that for each picture. Click on the picture, click add title, each picture. I can add a title if I choose. So on and so forth. So that way I can add titles to my different pictures. Okay. I can also next add comments to each picture. Okay, so when I select a picture and I click the comments button, you'll notice at the bottom there is a button that's labeled comment. So I'm going to click on the comment button and then it gives me 5 different options. The first option being that I can use my telephone to make a voice comment. The second is that I can use my webcam and record myself talking. The next one is to use a microphone to make an audio comment. I can type in with my keyboard comments that will not be audio but will show up as text. And last but not least, I can use a file that's on my computer to upload an audio comment or music. So those are the 5 options that we have. Just so that you know, if you do not have a computer microphone and you choose to use the telephone to make your comments, then you simply enter in your phone number with the area code into this box. and click Call Me. Be very cautious when you do this because you only have 3 minutes to record using the free version of VoiceThread, which means when you click Call Me, your phone will ring. When you answer it, you'll be able to record what you want to say about this particular picture. But you have to keep it under 3 minutes. You want to make sure that you know what you're saying. So I would advise if you use this phone option to make comments, make sure that you know what it is that you're going to say before you actually click Call Me. All right, so I'm going to close that. Again, the webcam will simply bring up your webcam, which I don't have hooked up right now, and you can just make your comments. Um, the record feature, I'm going to demonstrate that. When you hit record, it's going to ask you, do you want to, record with your microphone, and then you'll be able to say what you want to say about this image. So I'm going to allow the microphone to actually record. Welcome to Alabama State University. It's a great time to be a hornet. Okay, so notice I hit stop recording. So if I'm satisfied with my recording, then I simply hit the save button, and you'll notice that now I have this image on the side that will actually play my recording when the time is appropriate. I can also type in a comment that will show up on the screen. I'm also going to save that. All right. Now I can move on to my next picture and do the same thing. Again, I can also record something about this um, building as well, this photograph as well. This is the College of Education conceptual framework. It illustrates the uh, values and dispositions that we expect of a professional educator in the College of Education. All right, so I would go through and I could do that for each of the photographs throughout my entire digital story. So I'm going to go back to the beginning and show you if I play. Notice that I didn't have to hit the forward button. It's automatically moving through the comments on its own. So again, this will continue on throughout all of your images in your digital story. You can also, remember, upload music to play along with this as well as an introduction to each of your images. Once you're done and you're satisfied with your digital story, that everything is in the right order, everything has titles, Everything has text comments, that you've included some voice narration. You do not have to narrate every picture, but that you do have a couple of voice recordings included. Once you're satisfied that it's done, the last step is to share. Okay, so once you hit the share button, up at the top of the screen, there is a Get a Link button. And in this Get a Link button, when you press it, you have a couple of options. You're going to copy the link, which is also located underneath here. That is your website address for your digital story. Um, and you want to make sure that you allow anyone to view and comment on your digital story. If you uncheck these boxes, I will not be able to see and grade your digital story. So please make sure that view is still checked and comment is checked. When you copy the link, it lets you know that your link has been copied and you are ready to paste it. So what you do with that is log into live text. Of course, you'll go to the digital storytelling assignment. For you, you'll have a submit button. So you'll click submit. You'll, of course, click the URL tab and paste the link that you copied from Voicethread into um, the box and submit that for grading. I want to remind you to also make sure each time you submit an assignment that you go ahead and open your ePortfolio, find the section where that assignment belongs. For example, the link to your digital story will be under Classroom Tools. So if you click Classroom Tools in the table of contents, there will be a page for the 21st century, for the digital story, sorry. You can edit that section, paste the link to your digital story, and write your reflective summary about what you learned during this assignment, and save and finish. All right, so that is how you complete the digital story assignment. If you have any additional questions about the assignment, please do not hesitate to contact me either in the office or via email at stsjohnson@alasu.edu.